Welcome to the Montana Podcast, where we uncover the best-kept secrets of Big Sky Country. Join us as we highlight the hidden gems and unique stories that make Montana the place we know and love. Whether you're a local or a visitor, get ready to experience the true spirit of Montana, one story at a time.
Welcome back to another episode of the Montana Podcast, where I am here to support and show the hidden gems of Montana. So, Taylor, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate being here.
Yeah. So, everyone might not know this, but this is her first podcast.
It is my first podcast.
And she's rocking it. Best guest all day.
Appreciate it.
Best guest.
I got some competition over here. Yeah.
So, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, so my name is Taylor King. I am the owner of the Vive Bioactive. We are an exotics and aquatics shop here in Bozeman. So we sell reptiles, amphibians, invertebrates, freshwater fish, and all the supplies you'll need for them. Yeah.
And where's that located?
We're located in Four Corners now, right by Arctic Spas, behind the Mojave Coffee Hut. So we were previously in the market, and when I took over ownership, we moved over to Four Corners.
Okay. And how did you get in?
So I've always been a weird kid. I was always that weird little girl stuffing worms in her pocket and putting grasshoppers in her bed. My mom likes to tell a story that when I was little, I would always catch grasshoppers in our backyard, and then I would sleep with them. So I'd put them in my bed, and I would sleep with them. And obviously they would die there. So I was just condemning all of these grasshoppers to their death in my bed. And my grandmother, so my mom's mom, was coming to visit us, and she was supposed to stay in my bed, and my mom had just washed the sheets. And then my grandmother that night pulls back the covers when there's just a line of dead grasshoppers, between the wall and the bed. So that was me growing up. I would always go catch snakes and all sorts of things going camping. So I've always very much had an interest in all of the weird creepy crawlies and the reptiles and things like that. I went through quite a few phases of keeping hamsters and then praying mantises, and then moved to Bozeman a couple years ago for college. I'm still in college. I'm in my junior year now, studying organismal biology and entomology. And last October, my family had the opportunity to purchase the Vive. I was working at the Vive just as an employee previously. The previous owners put it up for sale, and my family had the opportunity to buy it. And so started in Bozeman as a college student, ending in Bozeman as a business owner, and doing what I love. So
That's cool. So when people come out to the Vive, what can they experience?
We've got a whole bunch of really fun animals to see, mostly reptiles. We've got a lot of resident animals, including Nigel, our black and white Argentine tegu, which is a really big lizard. He's probably close to 40 pounds. So you'll see him out and about in his enclosure or basking and sleeping, and occasionally we'll feed him in front of guests, which can be really fun. We've got a whole bunch of resident snakes, including Envy, our green tree python. There are quite a few residents you can see, and a lot of our residents are used in our birthday parties and educational classes and other programs like that. We can do field trips. Overall, we just do a whole bunch of education with our residents, but we've also got a lot of things for sale. We've got our fish side full of all of our freshwater fish and freshwater plants, and our reptile side with all of our animals for sale.
Do you ever have birthday parties for the kids with all the reptiles?
Yes, it's really popular, actually.
Yeah.
So we'll do birthday parties, and everyone who does a birthday party with us will be given a list of animals to choose from, and so we'll bring out the animals that they want to see and let them hold them and interact with them while we teach them about them. So it's a pretty fun experience. Yeah.
Have you ever brought reptiles around horses?
Not particularly. No, I have not. Not yet.
Huh. I wonder
Guess we
if
try it out.
I was just wondering. Reptiles, tacos, and horses?
There you go.
And then you can paint it all.
Perfect.
There we go.
Perfect.
That's super cool. You are the co-owner. Who is your business partner?
My parents are my business partners.
Okay.
So I am the majority owner, and my parents own the remaining of the company. But yeah.
Cool. And you came here for school, so
Mhm.
where did you come from?
Billings, so just 2 hours away, but
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
not super far.
How did you like Billings?
It's a lot more boring than Bozeman is, that's for sure. Not as much to look at, that's for sure.
Oh my, yes,
Yeah, it's a little bit drab.
yes. Like you're headed eastern Montana, and then once you pass what, like Livingston, it's
Mhm.
just flat.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. When I was driving back from Indiana, I- once I like got into Montana, I was like, sweet mountains. Not really.
Not really. There's a lot of fields.
There is a lot of fields, but once you hit Livingston, it's okay. Cool. I'm back in.
Yeah.
So when you were working there, did you have any moments where you messed up with the reptiles?
Not personally, no.
One didn't get out and you couldn't find it?
I have lost a few animals, but I've always found them, most of them at least. Most recently, I lost our resident tortoise. Her name is Doris. And
Doris the tortoise.
Doris the tortoise, she is the same age as me, so she's 20 years old. And she's our cute little resident Russian tortoise. And it was just like a couple weeks after we had gotten her, and I had taken her out of her enclosure to let her eat her salad on the floor and then let her kind of romp around our event space afterwards. But it was a really nice day outside, and so I left the doors open, forgetting that Doris was out and about wandering. And Doris was like, oh my gosh, what a fun opportunity to leave the building. And so she got outside, and we were all stressed because we have a creek running just behind the building, and we were like, oh my gosh, Doris fell in the water. She's a tortoise, not a turtle, so she can't swim. Doris drowned herself, but we found her 2 days later. All is right with the world.
That is awesome. So when people come to the Vive, are they usually, I want this kind of reptile, or is it like a kid in the candy store and you have to guide them on what they want?
It really depends. There are certainly people who come in that are like, I want this thing. I already have all this set up. Like, it's on the shelf right there. I want that thing. And I would say that's probably close to 30% of the people we have come into the shop that are getting reptiles. But a lot of the times people will come in, like parents with kids. They're just like, my kid wants a reptile. I'm not really into the reptile thing, but my kid really wants it. What are some good beginner reptiles? Or they have a certain enclosure set up and they want to know what they can put in it, and so they're looking for options for that. So we do a lot of education on that side of things, where sometimes people will come into us and they'll have a bearded dragon in a 20-gallon enclosure, and we focus a lot on the education with care. There's a lot of lack of knowledge out there, and a lot of misinformation out there when it comes to reptile care and fish care for that matter too. And so we're really trying to encourage people to provide not only minimum care, but above minimum care. And there's a lot of things that are changing really rapidly in the reptile hobby. And so we try our best to keep up with things, but even in the last 2 years, there have been a whole lot of things that have changed when it comes to heating and lighting and minimum size enclosures and diet, even with reptiles. There's a lot of things to think about when keeping a reptile, and we try to be a resource for that, for people who want to learn more or want to improve their care or just their first time getting into the hobby. We really want to be a good resource for that too.
Do you guys have a YouTube channel?
We have one. We have not posted on it yet. I think there might be a video about starting a fish tank, but that was a thing before I started taking over ownership, and so I've been focusing more on the social medias of Instagram and Facebook, so haven't quite gotten to yet. But
Okay, but
yeah.
do you do like educational things on Facebook and?
Yeah, we make educational posts occasionally,
okay.
but we have like care guides in our store as well. They're just like printed out care guides in a whole like organizer that people can take. And of course, if they ask us questions, we're happy to help too.
So I want to go buy a lizard. And legitimately, I don't know what tank to get. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do I just let it sleep in my bed? For somebody like going in there like me who doesn't know anything, how would you guide them through that?
Yeah, so first I would You said lizard. There's a lot of lizards out there,
Exactly. I
right?
don't know anything.
So there's quite literally like hundreds of species you could theoretically keep in captivity. So I would ask you what exactly you're looking for in a pet reptile, specifically a lizard. Are you wanting to be able to interact with it? Do you want it to be out and about more often than hiding? Do you want to be able to hold it? Do you want to be able to sit on the couch and watch a movie with it? So it would really depend on what you're looking to get out of that pet reptile. There are so many different options, and each one is very unique. And you'll have a very different experience depending on the species you choose. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit more handleable, that can just sit on your shoulder and you can watch a movie with it, I would encourage you to look at like bearded dragons or leopard geckos or even an African fat-tailed gecko. A lot of those guys are really good beginner species, and depending on the species you choose, we would then walk you through what exactly you're looking at in terms of care. What are you looking at in terms of enclosure size for a baby versus an adult? What are you looking at in terms of diet versus heating and lighting, substrate, just down to the very small details of your enclosure. We can really get specialized with it.
That's cool. What do you see the vision moving forward?
Yeah, I would really like to continue doing education with our resident animals. That is something that we have expanded a lot on since taking over ownership. When we moved over to Four Corners and when I took over ownership, they wanted us out of our previous space. And so when looking for a new space, I really wanted an entire separate room that we could do birthday parties and classes and things like that. And so that was something we were able to do with our new space. And I would really like to continue doing that. We have been offering educational classes. So if you're interested in caring for a bearded dragon or an axolotl, or you're interested in what it looks like to do like a beginner freshwater fish setup, or lots of other topics like that, we have dedicated classes on most Sundays that will go over care and everything you really need to know about keeping that pet. And when it comes to birthday parties, I really enjoy doing the birthday parties. They're really fun. So yeah, I would really like to continue education, and I would really like to continue being a really good resource for people who even have been in the hobby for years and years that just want to know more. I would really like to do that.
Cool. So you're from Billings. You said earlier that it's pretty boring.
It can be, yes.
But do you have, maybe not in Billings, but like, where's a hidden gem for you in Montana?
My hidden gem personally is a place that I can't go to anymore. My family had a very specific camping spot up in Avalanche Gulch by Canyon Ferry. And the gulch was just recently purchased by, I think, someone in Colorado. Then they developed it into cabins. So no more camping in Avalanche Gulch, unfortunately. So that was definitely a bit upsetting to discover when we went that one year to go camp in Avalanche Gulch, and there was a big sign in the road saying no trespassing, private property. So my hidden gem can't be visited anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't know that. Like, I'm from Helena. I don't know how I never heard about that.
My family had been camping there for many years, and so it's definitely like I grew up camping there, walking up the gulches and catching snakes and being walked by mountain lions and watching beavers play in ponds. Can't do that anymore, unfortunately.
Can you rent a cabin there? Or they just built? As
of last summer, they were still in the process of building the cabins. I don't know if they're open for... I think they were turning it into some sort of resort. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't really followed it.
That's fair enough. That's too bad.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can find another hidden gem.
I hope so, yeah.
And it doesn't get taken into.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Awesome. So how can people find you, support you, all the good jam? Yeah,
so you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at the Vive BZN, and find us in our shop at 81305 Gallatin Road, right next to Arctic Spas, behind the Mojave Coffee Hut.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome. And what are your hours?
We're open at 12 to 7 Saturday, or Monday through Saturday, and 12 to 5 on Sunday.
Awesome. Yeah. Sweet. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you for having me.